Hey guys, welcome back to Proper Chuffed. My name's Hilton and I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. Well, it seems like it's silly season for model railway updates, so I figured let me add my own to the mix before the year ends. So today's update is going to be slightly different. We're going to take a quick look at what's been happening on Dunromin, take a look at some new locomotives and rolling stock that have arrived, reflect on my first full year on YouTube in 2024, and look ahead to what's on offer in 2025. Before I go anywhere else, I just want to say I hope you had an amazing Christmas with your family or friends, and that you got lots of model train related gifts under the Christmas tree on the day. I'd love to hear what you got, so if you did get anything, please drop it down in the comments below and let's share the joy together. And as the year comes to a close, whether you're watching this before or after New Year's Day, I hope you have a prosperous and excellent 2025 and that all of your model railway dreams come true. So unfortunately, not a hell of a lot of progress has been made on Dunromin. This time of year in terms of work for me is exceptionally busy, and I have to balance that with, family and festivities. So I took a sort of 2-week hiatus from YouTube, worked on a few small things on the layout when I had time, but for the most part, I've not actually been in this room. Also, down here in South Africa, it's been around 37 degrees on a daily basis, and this room is absolutely sweltering, so it's not a very pleasant place to be in summer. Now, you may have noticed I am wearing a very exclusive Liberty Junction Mini Owners Club t-shirt. This was kindly sent to me by 00 Dave. Dave and I have become fast friends ever since we started this journey together on YouTube over a year ago, which is kind of crazy. If you're not familiar with his channel, please do go check out 00 Dave. He's easily one of the most humorous and upbeat channels in this hobby. And while we all seem to sometimes take this a little bit too seriously, Dave does so with a bit of tongue-in-cheek approach. Anyways, I believe you can pick these up for about £250. Yes, it's an expensive shirt, but it's a very exclusive club. I just want to show you guys, I got the 2023 edition because I'm one of the early adopters of the Mini Owners Club, and I paid my annual membership fee of £250, which, yes, it's quite expensive, but you do get to join in with fellow enthusiasts and drive your Mini all over the Liberty Junction shunting yards, which is quite fun. So, to give you a bit of perspective, this is the amazing 2023 style shirt. Just wanted to show it off a little bit. I think it's really cool. And on the back, the most amazing thing is Dave included my original Mini and he's added a photo of it. So there's the back of the shirt. Hopefully you guys can see it correctly. It's a bit of a strange angle for me to be filming at. This actually does include a full picture of my original Mini, which is really cool. And I think that Dave has done a really good job with this shirt. So thank you, Dave. I'm well impressed with that, and it was easily well worth the £250 I paid for my annual membership fee. In no way, shape or form do I feel like I got robbed with this. With that small punt for Dave's channel out of the way, let's get to the layout updates. Okay, so as I mentioned, not all that much has been done. However, the final pieces of track have been laid down and we're basically ready to start with landscaping. Now my plan for the landscaping aspect of this channel is to do it bit by bit, one by one, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that process with you. I learned so much in my original layout, and I feel like I've got some fairly good techniques that I'd like to share with you guys as I go forward. And I know a lot of you have been asking to see that sort of progress. So in 2025, I'll be going all in on how I do things and how I build this landscape up and bring it to life. One of the most exciting things that's happened in the recent months is the fact that I finally have my scenic baseboards. They've been sent off to my painter, my sister, who's kindly offered to paint the entire thing. Part of this process was making sure that the scenic backboards are tall enough that you won't be able to see the top of them too easily on camera once they're finished. So we mapped out exactly how it would look, put all the boards against the back of the layout, and my sister took all the correct dimensions. We printed out the design, looked it over, and she's now taken them off to be painted. And I absolutely cannot wait to see the results. Over here at Dunromin Distillery, our final tracks are down and in, and I've left a little bit of room to potentially lead one of these lines off onto a new board in the future, but I'm not getting anywhere near that yet, so that's an idea for another day. Over here at Dunromin Station, the station building is finally complete. Well, almost. I just need to add like a chimney and maybe do a little bit of weathering in the building. The station building was built up from a Pico West Highland laser cut kit, and the process of building this was genuinely one of the most enjoyable builds I've done in all of modeling. I never thought I'd enjoy actually building a building. But damn it, if this kit is not one of the most well-designed little pieces of railway engineering. I am so impressed with just how well everything fit together on this. And I can easily see myself rapidly moving onto the station signal box and other smaller structures. I'll give you a closer look at this now. As you can see, this is a really delightful little building. So reminiscent of stations like Loch Rannoch and other smaller buildings and stops along the West Highland Line. I chose to go for the slightly smaller version because you can actually get Loch Rannoch. However, my platform size really didn't dictate the need for a larger station like that. So I chose the smaller one, and I think it'll do the job quite well. The only thing I didn't really think about is that on the back of the building there are actually no doors. So passengers stepping off from the main line onto the West Highland Line might get a little bit confused when they're greeted with a building that has absolutely no entrance on this side. But it's fine, you're not going to see it, and we'll just pretend there's a door there, shall we? It's a terrible excuse, I know, but there's not much I can really do about it, unless I perhaps paint a door. Painting this was fairly difficult, I won't lie. I honestly should have painted it as I built it. I ended up painting it all afterwards. But I think the overall product and final finish on this is quite good. And I'm quite impressed with myself given that I am not really a hand painter usually. I kind of just go at things with an airbrush. So overall, I'm quite happy with how this has turned out. I still need to do a bit more weathering, especially on the roof. Probably add a little bit of moss to this, but that'll all be part of a station build video. Now, to just give you an idea, this is my platform kit. Now, this was made for me by a friend of mine, Phil from PG Prototypes, and he does absolutely exceptional laser cut work. So this is the platform piece that Phil provided me with. I gave him some photos of Loch Rannoch station, and he basically replicated it exactly, from the stone paving to the brickwork to the open area where I can place gravel. I've obviously added a layer of varnish on this so that I can get airbrushing on it as soon as I'm ready to, and I think it's really set me up nicely for a beautiful looking West Highland platform. My platform can essentially facilitate a 5 to 6 coach train, and that's more than enough for what I need on this sort of heritage West Highland line. I'm not planning on having like major intercity sort of locomotives pulling through here with like 10 coach rakes or anything like that. So 5 to 6 is perfectly fine with me. So probably the next step beyond starting on some of the rough terrain of this layout is going to be focused entirely on this station scenic, and I'll be building out from there. Beyond that, I've actually finally wired all of my point motors, and there are actually only 5 on my layout, which is great because I didn't want this to be overcomplicated by any means. I've used some old Pico motors and they do the job just fine, albeit being a little bit noisy, if you know what I mean, that kind of but it's fine, we can ignore that. You know, if I do another layout someday, which I will, I'll definitely do another layout, I'll probably look at something a little bit more quiet. But they do the job and they do it well, and I'm really happy with that. I've actually built the switchboard for all the switches and points into the baseboard of the layout, so it's easily reachable and it really doesn't get in the way, and I can't accidentally bump any of the points. There's not that much more for me to actually share with you in terms of layout updates here. So let's move on to the exciting stuff. Let's move on to some new locomotives that arrived at Dunromin. So despite the fact that this channel is called Proper Chuffed, and I initially got into this because of my love of steam, I very quickly found myself falling down a diesel rabbit hole, and more specifically around Class 37s. I don't know what it is about tractors, but I absolutely adore them and I cannot seem to get enough of them. Over the past year, I actually only did one overview on Class 37. That was for the Class 37 I got last Christmas, which is Bachmann's sort of newly tooled version, which was Dunromin. And I must admit that behind the scenes, I have picked up a few more. Well, you've probably seen Inverness TMD on the channel before. I don't think I've really shared that many others that have arrived. So in the past 2 weeks, I've acquired 2 new ones, which are both West Coast Railways locos. One of them, Loch Arkaig, came from 00 Dave, and this was bundled with the t-shirt. Obviously paid for the locomotive myself, but he just packed it all up and sent it together. The second one I actually traded my Bachmann Euro Phoenix version for, and while you think that might be a mistake, I do actually plan to get the Scale version with the Mirrorlees power unit later next year. So not a major loss for me, and I'd rather, to be honest with you, have a West Coast Railways loco because it's a little more suited to my West Highland layout. So on top of the 37s, we do also have a new steam locomotive. Not too sure if I'm going to do an overview on this, Perhaps it's a little bit old, but you let me know if you'd like to see any of these in an overview, and I'll certainly tackle that in the future. So here's our first arrival, the Hornby K1 locomotive. Now, there's no K4 in ready to run format, so I can't get the Great Marquess. So the K1 will have to do, and actually for the price I paid, which was about £80 or so, this is a really fantastic little locomotive. The K1s did serve in the Highlands, so I'm looking forward to having it as part of the fleet and doing some heritage tour work. I must say, for its age, and I believe it's about 10 years old now, the K1 is a really stellar little locomotive. A lot of detail, and it runs incredibly smoothly too. So here's our first 37 arrival. This is the most recent one to join the fleet, and I picked this one up from eBay and it arrived with 00 Dave's t-shirt. This is 37248 Loch Archaig. I have a bit of a thing for the lochs now, I won't lie, I really do want to collect them all. As you can see, 37248 is weathered and detailed by the previous owner, and it sounds absolutely amazing. Bachmann really don't miss on their 37s, they're honestly like the AK-47s of model trains. Always running, always smooth, great power delivery, and a really decent sound to boot. So we're going to switch tracks with Loch Archaig. I'm really happy with this purchase. I picked it up for about £130 and it seems like it's one of those rarer 37s, so very happy to have it in the fleet. By the way, if anyone ever finds a Loch Or in ScotRail livery, that's one I'm certainly looking for and hoping to add to the fleet sometime soon. It seems to be one of the rarer variants of the 37 and I'm yet to find one, so if you do see one, please do let me know. And here comes our next arrival, just on time, with the snowplow from Flangeway. I made the mistake of only buying one of these. Apparently you do need 2 snowplows, so something to pick up on the next shipment from the UK. Anyways, this is 37669 in West Coast colours as well, as you can see. I absolutely love the clean look on 37669, but it does need a bit of dirtying up. Sound profile is a little bit quiet despite having turned it all the way up, which is a bit of a mystery to me, but don't they look absolutely stunning together in both of their West Coast colours. The West Coast livery is probably my favourite after the large logo BR blue colours, and third to that then the ScotRail colours. I'd love to know which livery you think looks best on a 37. Drop me a comment below and let's have a debate. Right, we're going to have to make way because it seems like we have a third locomotive coming in. And here's a good opportunity for you to see the point work in action. As I mentioned earlier, I've got a bit of a thing for the loch named Class 37s. Currently in the fleet I have Loch Rannoch, Loch Lomond, Loch Archaig, I believe I need Loch Or and Loch Long, and I'm not sure if there are any others missing, but ideally, just like Pokemon, I really want to get them all. Right, so we've made a little bit of space here. It seems that our new arrival is about to make a great appearance. Making her first appearance on the channel, I'm really happy to introduce 37401, the Royal Scotsman. And what a beautiful locomotive this is. Now this was a Kono Model Rail Center exclusive that I actually picked up nearly 8 months ago, and frankly she's been sitting in the box. I picked up a standard non-DCC fitted version, but when I experienced some problems with my Loch Lomond, which was the sound-fitted deluxe version, I decided to swap the internals of both locomotives. So what you see here is a sound-fitted version of her with a spinning fan, which I also moved across. However, she doesn't have the glazed windows that Loch Lomond does. I'm going to have to try and find a spare speaker for Loch Lomond, but I felt like Royal Scotsman deserved the full treatment. And I think the result overall, with the spinning roof fan and fantastic sound profile, really bring her together. So that's all 3 of my maroon 37s that have made appearances now at Dunromin and are looking to make it their home. You'll probably be seeing all 3 of these working different services in the coming months. And yes, it is clear I really do have a 37 problem. I want to just touch on a couple things that I know I need to get for this West Highland line next year. The first of which is some modern rolling stock. Now, while I was in Scotland on the West Highland line, I was having lunch at Speen Bridge, and a Class 66 pulled in with a huge rake of alumina wagons. I've searched far and wide for these, and I found that the only company that produces these is Revolution Trains. So my plan in early 2025 is to get my hands on a set of probably 3 sets of wagons, which give me a nice rake of about 12 alumina wagons. That's something that is been largely missing from my layout, and I must be honest, I've probably got too many locomotives at this point, so it's time to get some rolling stock and get things going properly. The second set of rolling stock I'm looking forward to getting at some point is some West Coast Railways Mark 3s or Mark 2s. I'm not sure which one that is, but as you can see, we now got the 37s for it, so I definitely need to get my hands on a rake of these to tie that all together quite nicely. Third, I'm really hoping that at some point in 2025, Accurascale will re-release their Caledonian sleeper coaches. I think these are Mark 4s, and it would absolutely tie this layout together to have a rake of Caledonian coaches that I can run around the Highlands here. Right, so there are some updates for you guys. I hope you enjoyed them. You've made it to the point of the video where I'm just gonna kind of reflect and speak very freely about my experiences in the past year, and then look ahead to what's on the cards in 2025. So if you enjoyed the sound of my strange South African accent, here's an opportunity for you to pause the video, go make a cup of tea, and join me again for a bit of a chat. I am ending this year on 2,850 subscribers. It was a bit of a joke between me and a couple mates that I would hopefully hit 3,000 by the end of the year, but I think that was a little bit ambitious, and while I got very close, I'm very proud of the progress that I've made with this channel. And that progress has been down to you, basically. While I can look back on my earlier content and certainly see that there's been a massive improvement over a very short period of time, it's you guys that have brought me back week by week to make these videos and create this content. I love this hobby. It's absolutely brilliant, and I don't see myself doing anything else for perhaps the rest of my life. While I'll always have my other little obsessions like collecting Star Wars figures or cars. I don't collect cars, I'm just saying I'm into cars. I don't collect cars, I don't have that kind of money. Model railways have been a really great anchor point for me in the past 2 years. I've had so many new adventures, experiences, and learned so much while I've been doing this. Not through just, historical segments or watching other content on YouTube, but it spurred both Annie and I to go and visit the UK earlier this year, and we had an absolutely amazing experience as a result of it. But I just want to say a sincere and honest thank you to you guys. Every single comment is one that I respond to, and it means so very much for me to have this community of people out there across the seas, not so many locally, but across the seas, to be able to talk to and share my thoughts with. I've welcomed criticism on this channel. As always, I do kind of stress, just be kind, just be a decent human being. But almost all the criticism has been positive and helped me improve my content as I've gone on. I won't lie, I feel like a real outsider when it comes to this hobby and specifically this YouTube space. I've been fortunate enough to make some really good friends over in the UK, and some further beyond that. But it is a bit of a weird one for me because I'm not able to go to exhibitions. I'm not entrenched in the railway culture like so many of you are, and I do feel like a little bit of an outsider at times, or somewhat of an imposter, if you will, modeling something that, is not super familiar to me. But I've learned so much, and my passion grows week by week for this hobby. And to be honest, this channel feels like that bridge between me and the UK in many regards. This is my model railway club, and it means so much to me that you are a part of it. So I just want to say a very heartfelt and sincere thank you. One of the things I've learned this year is how to sort of balance my feelings of YouTube feeling like a bit of a job compared to the actual hobby. And it's been important for me to have small breaks in between certain things, just to disconnect a little bit, step away, watch some other content, and feel inspired to come back again. That, and the fact that you guys comment and react to my videos in such a positive manner, always brings me back in front of the camera and allows me to pick up and keep going. While in many ways it would be almost easier to enjoy this hobby in my own personal capacity without having a camera in front of my face, I found the challenge of constantly improving my content a really enjoyable and encouraging process, and it's inspired a lot of confidence in myself personally and my capacity to see what I can do. So thank you for being part of this and encouraging me. I'm going to go into 2025 all guns blazing, and I'm not going anywhere. So thank you. Finally, let's look ahead to 2025 and what that might offer for the channel. I am determined to make sure that I cover every single step of this layout build going forward regarding all the scenics on this channel. So I'm hoping to make smaller, more bite-sized how-to videos on how I put this all together. So you've certainly got that to look forward to, and I know a lot of you have been asking to see that process, so I'm going to make sure that I document it all and get it up step by step as to how I build this. This layout is intimidating me way more than even my first layout because I kind of know what I'm capable of, but I want to improve on it drastically this time around. So I'm really excited to start that process very soon, probably sometime in January, and share it with you guys. Secondly, and rather excitingly, we have a model train exhibition late in 2025, and it's my plan to work on a South African layout with my friend and mentor Rinka to put together a South African shunting layout and display it at the model railway exhibition. So you'll see some of that pop up at some point in 2025 as I go through the process of building a Cape gauge layout, which is completely different to 00. And you'll get to see some awesome South African rolling stock and locomotives built by hand, which will be very cool. Finally, I have a third project in my mind that I kind of want to put together, and that is to build more of a yard scene sort of shunting type layout that could potentially sit above this Dunromin layout and be something of a slightly different perspective. I'm hoping to sort of set it in the late 1960s, sort of end of steam, early diesels. It's just an idea at this point. I'm mulling it over. I'm not quite sure where I want to go with it, but basically I do know that I will be building another layout on top of this at some point. Of course, I will obviously continue with my locomotive overviews and opinion pieces, and I will be returning to the listicle format of 7 locomotives that we'd like to see in 00, but I'll be breaking it down a little bit more this time. In 2025, we'll be going into each of the railway companies individually, so I think that'll be quite exciting if that's something that you enjoy. And who knows what might happen in 2025. There's a myriad of content and a whole world of bundle railways to explore, so you never know what might pop up from me on the channel. If you've made it this far, thanks. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me that you've kind of sat down with me and taken the time to listen to me ramble about all sorts of different things. But most importantly, I just want to thank you for making this channel what it is today. I'm really proud of the progress I've made. 2,800 subscribers is something I never thought I'd get to be honest with you. It's just a total blue moon thing. So it means a hell of a lot to me, and I'm staggered every day when I see that number. As we go into the new year, just wishing you all the best. I hope you have a fantastic new year, and I hope that 2025 is a really prosperous one for you. I'll be checking in with you guys again very soon as the videos start to roll out now, as sort of peak season is done, and I get back into the groove. So until I see you next time, keep your engines fired and stay on track. All the best.